The buzz about the Batman is full of ups and downs. On the one hand, it's the darkest, most frightening vision of the Dark Knight yet. On the other, that makes it easy to wonder why this Batman's so bulletproof. These are the best and worst things about the Batman.
I don't care what happens to me.
It's only gonna get worse for you.
Batman is known for his combat prowess. In most iterations of the character, he's traveled the world and learned countless methods of hand-to-hand combat and all forms of martial arts. In The Batman, he seemingly acquired most of his talent from Alfred, a man who this time around we learn little about. Regardless, Batman doesn't disappoint as he dismantles the criminal element piece by piece using almost nothing but his fists. The opening sequence, where we see the Dark Knight approach a violent street gang, is the first introduction we have to the hero's capabilities on the ground. The cocky leader taunts and assaults a costumed man he clearly doesn't understand and quickly learns a lesson the hard way. Batman's attack is swift and merciless. If the sounds of brutality are any indication, this thug will likely be eating through a straw for a while. At the other end of the film, when the Riddler enacts his plan to flood Gotham, we once again witness Batman's talent for dishing out pain as he takes on several of Riddler's followers, all of whom are armed to the teeth. Batman's armor deflects bullets while he expertly moves from person to person, putting each out of commission. The fight choreography is tight and exciting to watch throughout the film. Make no mistake, the Batman costume looks great, and Robert Pattinson wears the new Batsuit well. Beyond aesthetics, however, there's an unexplained durability to the suit that becomes rather conspicuous in the movie. Sure, Batman is going to develop an armor that can withstand some gunfire, that's a given, but how about armor that can withstand a barrage of gunfire? Throughout the film, Batman is shot directly countless times and is typically no worse for wear. In the third act, he takes several hits from automatic weapons, a shotgun blast to the chest, and even high-caliber rounds from hostile snipers to almost no effect. In the middle of The Batman, our hero finds himself in the police precinct after being rendered unconscious by the Riddler's explosive execution of DA Gil Colson. This means that, aside from gunfire, he's also taken the full force of a bomb explosion up close. Then, when he escapes the entire police force, he glides away from danger in his wingsuit. However, he doesn't quite nail the landing, and instead his parachute is caught on a bridge, smashing the hero into a moving vehicle on the concrete. While he does hobble away in pain, he recovers rather quickly to continue his vigilante work, which seems to indicate that he didn't suffer too greatly. For all intents and purposes, this armor seems a little too magical. The Riddler is a frightening foe, at least in Matt Reeves' version of the character. Batman is known for maintaining a coterie of supervillains who are mostly insane or mentally unstable. The Joker typically might win in the creep factor department, but in this version of the Batman lore, the Riddler operates like an absolute nightmare. If we didn't know any better, the opening scene alone, where the Riddler stalks the mayor before bludgeoning him to death, might indicate that we're watching a slasher horror film. Aside from the Riddler's murderous methods, he seems to enjoy savoring his kills. He stands in the shadows for quite some time, watching the mayor pacing only a few feet from him while watching the news coverage of his campaign for re-election. Later, the Riddler provides the media with footage of him killing the current police commissioner using a jigsaw-like trap in which rats are guided through a maze and ultimately forced to attack the commissioner's face to escape. It's a dark and macabre setting for a villain who's completely unhinged and ready to do anything to achieve his goals. The horror elements of this film are jarring and unforgettable. Paul Dano's performance of the character continues to deliver terror even after he's unmasked and sitting behind hardened glass opposite of Batman. His erratic yelling and pervasive tics all tell a story. We know that the Riddler had a horrible childhood, and it clearly made him a horrible man.
You came. I've been trying to reach you.
One of the film's most intense moments is when Batman gives chase to the Penguin, believing him to be the rat the Riddler is leading him to. The monstrous Batmobile roars onto the scene, letting the Penguin know there's no escape. Despite the reality of an angry Batman burning rubber and a jacked hot rod with a steel frame, the Penguin still attempts to shake his pursuer the only way he knows how, by driving headfirst into oncoming traffic. Eventually, the Penguin causes a massive pileup, leading to an explosion. It briefly seems as though the Penguin has either lost the Batman or killed him. As he speeds away, however, the Batmobile comes streaking out of the fire and pummels the Penguin's vehicle, sending him tumbling across the interstate. Batman and Jim Gordon then interrogate the Penguin before abandoning him for another lead. While the massive destruction on the interstate is pulse-pounding, it's quickly forgotten by the film's characters. Sure, Batman didn't cause the destruction, and yes, this film is focused on Batman fighting out of hate, not hope. As such, it makes sense that the Penguin would be all he is concerned about instead of helping the innocents among the wreckage. However, the Penguin receives no consequences for those actions, and squeaky clean Police Lieutenant Jim Gordon seems undeterred by it as well. The pileup was simply an explosive action sequence without any real effect. It's also a bit of a head-scratcher.
I got you!
The Batman is an engaging, character-heavy story. The film is anchored by a talented cast who capably take on their roles. Oz Cobblepot, the future Penguin, is one character that is brilliantly realized from head to toe. Makeup and prosthetics ensure that we never recognize Colin Farrell, even if we know he is somewhere underneath that rough exterior. Farrell perfects his performance by depicting a wildly believable and captivating mobster who cares very little about anyone but himself. Batman confronts the Penguin on two separate occasions. The first time is more of an amicable meeting, as Batman attempts to find any information linking the mayor to organized crime in the cesspool of individuals that occupy the Iceberg Lounge. Penguin sarcastically humors the Dark Knight. Later, Batman pursues the Penguin after learning that he may have been the man who ratted on Sal Maroni's illicit business operations. However, the Penguin isn't the man the Caped Crusader is looking for. In the interrogation, the Penguin establishes himself as a bullish yet witty individual who will do anything to survive. After all, the Penguin is a survivor and even outlasted Carmine Falcone, and will soon secure power for himself. There's no doubt about that. While he doesn't get a ton of screen time, the Penguin is absolutely magnetic every time he appears on camera. Everyone knows Bruce Wayne's tragic backstory. We also know that the death of his parents leads Alfred to become Bruce's surrogate family. Typically positioned as a faithful servant to the Wayne family, Alfred stands by Bruce through thick and thin. The Batman even establishes that he likely taught Bruce how to fight, which means that Alfred is one tough cookie. He even hints at the idea that he may have been more of a bodyguard to the Waynes than just a simple servant, when he tells Bruce that he was supposed to protect Thomas and Martha. Whatever the case may be, there's certainly a history between the two that's begging to be explored. However, the film doesn't really touch on the relationship between the two in any meaningful way. Sure, Alfred helps Bruce crack Riddler's ciphers. He even takes the full force of a bomb for Bruce and is hospitalized as a result. But when Bruce finally tells Alfred that he fears losing someone he cares about, it doesn't exactly feel earned, given the lack of interaction between the two. Despite Batman's penchant for working alone, he needs allies beyond Alfred. Selina Kyle fills that role in The Batman, and Zoe Kravitz completely slays in her performance as the famous cat burglar.
Maybe we're not so different. Who are you under there?
As a character, she's far more multi-dimensional than the always angry Batman is at the start of the film. Selina is compassionate, fiercely loyal to her friends, and extremely deadly in the right situations. When Batman first catches her off guard while breaking into a safe, she trades blows with the Dark Knight, and the two have magnetic chemistry right away. When the big revelation drops that Carmine Falcone is Selina's father and that she's gunning for him, a new side to the character is unveiled. Selina doesn't play around, and regardless of any blood relation, messing with her friends might earn you a bullet. Catwoman has always been a conflicted figure who often balances her thievery with her respect for Batman. Kravitz's portrayal is possibly the most accurate live-action depiction of the character yet. Batman is known for his famous Batcave, where all the toys and equipment reside. The Batman does away with the idea of the cave being below Wayne Manor. Instead, Bruce Wayne lives in a skyscraper, and his Batcave appears to be an abandoned subway station. Creative choices abound in the film, and most of them are hits. However, the lack of a substantial Batcave, while a nitpick, might weigh heavily on the hearts of Bat fans. The space Batman uses is in keeping with a minimalist vibe one might get from the early days of Batman's career. However, it also feels largely unimpressive and uninspired. The Batcave is an iconic piece of Batman's history that ultimately deserves a certain reverence in its depiction. Hopefully, Bruce Wayne will expand operations in the follow-up film and take his work to a more suitable home base. The Batman is teeming with the crooks, thieves, and killers that populate the seedier side of Gotham City. The film drops hints and clues about a larger world of Batman lore and characters that the sequels can flesh out. Throughout the Riddler's campaign for justice, he seeks to assassinate the character of the city's leadership by exposing their most heinous truths to the public. During some of his ramblings that hit the airwaves, he discusses important figureheads in Gotham City like the Arkham family. One of his newspaper clippings even references Edward Elliot, another popular Gothamite who helped modernize the city. His descendant, Tommy Elliot, even becomes the villainous Hush in the comics. Later, Batman uses a venom-like substance to receive a boost of unbridled energy, which indicates that Bane might be in Batman's future. Mentions of Blackgate Prison, Arkham State Hospital, and even Bloodhaven are woven in the film's dialogue. These are all locales iconic to Batman lore. Audiences even get a glimpse of Arkham with the Riddler in his cell. The film even teases a popular Batman villain who cackles at the Riddler's comeback plans. There's plenty happening within the world of the Batman, making it one of the film's best qualities for Bat fans. In the film's opening moments, Batman saves a man from a ruthless beating at the hands of a gang. Clearly, his goal wasn't to save the man, but to punish the wicked. After he frightens the goons away, the innocent man is afraid of Batman and begs the vigilante not to hurt him. He doesn't, but neither does he offer any message of comfort. Later in the film, Batman ignores a mass pileup and explosion on the freeway, which likely led to some casualties in order to catch Oz. When Selina asks for his help finding a friend who is clearly in danger, Batman cares more about retrieving intel than the innocent whose life is on the line. He's even icy cold toward Alfred and calls him a liar after Alfred wakes up at the hospital. The ending of the film marks a welcome change in the character as he focuses on providing hope to the good citizens of Gotham. However, it's still hard to witness our hero so enthralled in his quest for vengeance that he forgets what it's like to be human and ignores the plight of others in distress. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about the Batman are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.